The dead planet Jack was alone in his ship, flying through deep space. It was quiet. Too quiet. He had been searching for scrap parts and old tech for 3 days now, but he found nothing. Fuel was running low, and he was thinking about heading back home. Then his scanner beeped. A weak signal appeared on the screen. It was old and broken, but still calling for help. SOS. Help. Crash. Dying. Jack leaned forward. The signal came from a planet nearby. It was small, gray, and cold. The system showed no cities, no life, nothing. A dead planet. He hesitated. It could be a trap. But something inside him said, what if it's real? What if someone needs help? He turned the ship and flew down to the surface. The planet was dark. Thick gray clouds covered the sky. Ash floated in the air. His ship landed with a soft thud on dry, cracked ground. The wind was silent. Not even a single bird or bug. It felt wrong. Jack put on his helmet and stepped outside. His boots crunched the dust as he walked toward the signal. He followed the scanner through sharp black rocks and old metal parts half buried in the sand. After 15 minutes, he saw it. A crashed alien ship. Its wings were broken, and fire had burned half the body. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the side. This was not human tech. It looked advanced and dangerous. Jack climbed inside carefully. The ship was dark, full of smoke and sparks. He walked past hanging wires and broken screens. Then he heard something, a weak sound like breathing. He followed it to a small chamber in the back. And then he saw her, an alien, a tall figure in black armor lying on the floor. Her skin was dark blue, and green blood was running down her arm. Her eyes were half closed. She looked strong once. Now she looked close to death. Jack froze. He had never seen this kind of alien before. Was she dangerous? The alien opened her eyes and whispered, "They left me." Jack knelt beside her. "Who left you?" he asked. She tried to speak again but coughed. "My team. My people. They left me to die." Jack checked her wounds. Deep cuts, broken ribs. She needed help. Fast. "I can take you to my ship," he said. "I have med supplies." She didn't answer. "Do you trust me?" Her eyes locked on his. Strong, cold, but something changed. Maybe she saw that Jack wasn't her enemy. She gave a small nod. Jack carefully lifted her, surprised by her weight. The armor was heavy. Step by step, he carried her out of the burning ship and back to his own. Inside Jack's ship, the alien lay on a med bed. He cleaned her wounds and gave her a healing shot. Machines beeped quietly. He sat down, watching her breathe. "Who are you?" he asked softly. She opened her eyes again. "Zira, warrior class. I'm Jack, just a salvager, or I guess now your rescuer." Zira didn't smile, but her voice was calm. "Why did you help me?" Jack shrugged. "Because no one else was going to." She closed her eyes again. "That's foolish." "Maybe," Jack said, "but it's human." Outside, the wind changed. Jack's scanner beeped again. He looked up. A new signal had just activated from Zira's crashed ship. It was a beacon, but not for rescue. It was a target signal. Jack's eyes narrowed. Who else is coming? And more importantly, were they coming to help? The warrior's secret. The lights inside Jack's ship flickered. Outside, the gray wind blew stronger, making the hull groan. Jack sat beside the alien warrior, Zira. She was still weak, lying on the medbed. Green blood stained the bandages on her side. The machines showed she was stable, for now. But Jack wasn't thinking about her wounds anymore. He stared at the blinking red light on his scanner. The signal from her ship. It had changed. It's not an SOS signal anymore, Jack thought. It's a target beacon. Someone, or something, was coming, and it wasn't to save her. Jack stood up and checked the door locks. The storm outside was growing. He didn't know how long they'd be safe down here. He walked back to Zira and said, "Someone's coming. Do you know who?" Zira opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was quiet, cold. "Not someone. Hunters." "Hunters?" Jack asked, confused. She looked at him. "My people. They do not leave things unfinished." Jack frowned. "But you're their own soldier." Zira didn't blink. "I failed them. I did not complete the mission. They will not come to help me. They will come to erase me." For a moment, there was silence between them. Jack looked at the scanner again. The signal was growing stronger, closer. "Why would they do that?" he asked. Zira turned her head away. "Because I know something I shouldn't." Jack leaned closer. "What do you know?" She looked at him, eyes sharp, now not weak anymore. "If I tell you, they will kill you too." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Well, too late to walk away now." An hour passed. The ship shook once as thunder cracked in the sky. Jack sat at the controls, watching the atmosphere. A dark shape moved far in the clouds, something flying. Zira sat up slowly, wincing. She removed part of her armor, showing a strange glowing tattoo on her arm. Jack looked at it with curiosity. "What is that?" he asked. "A mark," Zira said. "Only those chosen for secret missions wear it. I was sent to recover a weapon, an old one, hidden on this planet for thousands of years." "So, you were a spy?" "No, a cleaner," she said flatly. "We don't take things. We destroy them." Jack nodded. "But you didn't destroy it, did you?" She looked down. Her jaw tightened. "I saw it, and I couldn't." "Why not?" Zira paused. "Because it was alive." Jack blinked. "The weapon?" She nodded. "Yes, not a machine, not a tool. Something more. It had thoughts, feelings. It spoke to me in my mind. It showed me things. It asked for help. Not destruction." Jack rubbed the back of his neck. "Okay. Now this is getting weird." Zira stared at him. "You saved me. You already chose the hard path. Now you need to know what you're in." Later that night, Jack followed Zira outside. She moved slower, still weak, but her steps were steady now. She led him through the storm back toward the wreckage of her ship. They climbed over broken metal and into a hidden chamber near the back. Zira tapped a wall. It opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a small floating cube, glowing, humming softly. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Jack stared at it. "What is that?" "It's a memory core," Zira said. "It holds the location of the weapon. So your people didn't just abandon you," Jack said. "They wanted to bury the truth." "They left me to die," she replied, "and now they send hunters to finish it." Jack stepped closer to the core. The glow grew stronger. Suddenly, a pulse shot from the cube, into his chest. He gasped, stumbled back. Images flashed in his mind. Stars, battles, fire, and voices. Alien voices whispering in a strange language. But somehow he understood. Zira is not your enemy. They fear her. They fear you. The real war is coming. Jack opened his eyes. Zira was watching him with wide eyes. "It spoke to you." "Yeah," Jack said slowly. "I heard it." "Why me?" "I don't know," she whispered. "It never spoke to anyone else before." They returned to Jack's ship. Rain began to fall on the metal roof. Zira sat near the engine room, sharpening a piece of metal into a blade. Jack paced nearby. "What are you going to do when the hunters arrive?" he asked. "Fight," she said. "Alone?" Zira looked up. "No. You." Jack chuckled. "I'm not a soldier. You are now." He went quiet. Deep inside, he knew she was right. He couldn't turn back. Not after what he saw. Not after what the cube showed him. Zira stood and walked toward him. She handed him the blade. "If you fight beside me," she said, "you must know something." Jack nodded. What? This weapon? The one hidden on this planet? It chooses its wielder, not by power, but by purpose. And what's mine? Jack asked. We'll find out soon, she said, because the hunters are almost here. Outside in the clouds above, 3 dark ships broke through the storm, silent, black, deadly. Inside Jack's ship, the memory cube began to glow again, brighter than before. The hunter becomes the hunted. The night sky was no longer quiet. Above the dead planet, 3 alien ships hovered like vultures. Their lights flashed in patterns Jack had never seen before. Not warnings, but signals. Signals for war. Inside his ship, Jack watched the radar. 3 red dots, moving closer, slowly, carefully, like predators stalking prey. Zira stood beside him, holding her blade tight. Her armor still cracked, her body still weak, but her eyes, sharp, ready, no fear, only fire. They're scanning the area, she said, searching for heat, movement, life. Jack swallowed. How long before they find us? Zira looked at him. They already have. They just don't know what waits for them. They shut down the ship's systems. Lights, heat, engines. Only the cube glowed faintly in the corner. Jack covered it with a cloth, but its power still pulsed through the floor like a heartbeat. Zira stood at the window, watching the sky. Jack walked over to her. We should run, he said. No, she replied. Running only delays death. And they won't stop hunting. Jack sighed. Then we make a stand. She turned to him. You're not a soldier. Not trained. Not ready. You weren't ready to die either, Jack said. But you didn't give up. For the first time, Zira's face softened. Just a little. You remind me of someone, she said. My brother. He believed in doing the right thing even if it killed him. What happened to him? He did the right thing. Jack and Zira moved quickly, setting up traps using scrap parts, wires, and explosives from the wrecks. She showed him alien tricks, pressure mines that only respond to certain footsteps, cloaked snares that hide in the dust. Your people, they're smart, Jack said. No, Zira replied. They're afraid. That's why they destroy what they don't understand. Like the weapon? Yes. And maybe, like you. Jack stopped. Me? Zira paused. The cube spoke. To you. It never did that with any of us. That makes you different. And dangerous, Jack added. To them, Zira said. Not to me. An hour later, the first hunter arrived. Not through the sky, but from the ground. Jack was outside checking a trap when the sand behind him moved. Something large, fast, invisible. Jack, behind you, Zira shouted. He turned, too slow. Tall figure in black armor charged at him. Its body shimmered like smoke. Its hand reached out. A blade grew from its wrist. Jack stumbled back, fell hard. A flash. Zira tackled the hunter midair, knocking it to the ground. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. Zira's blade met the hunter's arm, slicing deep. But the hunter didn't scream, didn't bleed. It just moved faster. Jack grabbed a loose wire from the trap and wrapped it around the hunter's legs. Zira kicked its chest and Jack activated the shock coil. A burst of blue light. The hunter screamed and froze. Zira stabbed it through the helmet. It stopped moving. Jack gasped for air. Zira stood over the body. Scout class, more will come. How? Many? Too many. Back inside, Jack checked the scanner again. 2 more signals now on the ground, moving quickly. We need to go, he said. No, Zira said. We need to draw them in. Split them. Take them one by one. You sound like you've done this before. I have, she said. And I lived. Barely. The traps worked. One of the hunters stepped into a pressure zone and triggered an explosion that lit up the dark sky. Jack and Zira moved fast, using shadows and dust. They fought together. She with her blade, he with clever tricks. Jack lured the second hunter into a dead engine chamber. Once inside, he locked the door and filled the room with fire from a fuel leak. The explosion shook the ground. But the third hunter was different. Stronger. Smarter. It found the ship, and it found the cube. Jack and Zira returned to the base to see the door open, and no alarms, no warning. "It's inside," Jack whispered. They stepped in slowly. The cube was floating, uncovered, glowing brighter than before. The hunter stood near it, not taking it, not touching it, just watching. Jack raised his weapon. "Step back." The hunter turned. Its face was not hidden by a helmet, and it looked like Zira. Jack froze. Zira stepped forward slowly. "That's not a hunter. That's a mirror unit, a mimic. It takes the face of someone you trust." The mimic looked at Jack and spoke in Zira's voice. "You are chosen, Jack. Leave her. Come with us. The weapon will obey you." Jack's hand shook. The mimic's eyes glowed. "She will fail again, like before. She let her brother die. She let her team burn. She will let you die too." Jack looked at Zira. "Don't listen," she said. "It's lying." "Is it?" "Yes." The mimic stepped closer. "Touch the cube, Jack, and you will see the truth." Jack didn't move, but Zira did. She threw her blade. A flash. The mimic screamed, and the image broke. Its real form appeared. Not Zira, not human. Something old, twisted, metallic skin, no eyes, mouth full of black fire. Jack fired, Zira charged. Together they pushed it into the engine room and locked the door, but the cube still glowed, too bright. Jack touched it. Images filled his mind again. This time, clearer. A memory, not his own. Zira, standing over a battlefield. Her brother dying, a command from her leaders. Leave him. Complete the mission. She disobeyed. She tried to save him. And failed. Jack opened his eyes. Zira was sitting silently. He sat beside her. "You tried," he said. She nodded. "I did." Jack looked at the cube. "Then maybe we both have something to finish." Outside, the sky opened. Not 3, not 10, but hundreds of ships appeared on the radar. The hunters weren't here for cleanup. They were here for war. A dangerous alliance. The storm outside had faded, but inside Jack's ship, a new storm was building, made of silence, tension, and fear. Jack sat near the control panel watching the scanner with tired eyes. Hundreds of red dots blinked across the screen. Alien ships filled the sky. More were landing every hour. Each dot meant one thing: death. Zira stood near the weapon core. Her hand rested on it, fingers spread like she was trying to feel its heartbeat. Her armor was dented and her face showed fresh bruises from the last fight. But she didn't care. "They're not just here for me anymore," she said. "They're here for the weapon. For you." Jack looked up. "For me?" Zira nodded, slowly. "You touched the core." It responded, it spoke. "That's never happened before. They know. And that makes you a threat." Jack sighed. "Lucky me." Zira turned around. "You're not a soldier. You don't have to stay in this." He looked at her. "You didn't have to save me back there either." For a moment, they just stared at each other. Zira explained more about the core, the weapon buried deep beneath the planet. It wasn't a gun, not a bomb. It was alive. Long ago, it was built by an ancient race, beings who believed weapons should protect, not destroy. But something went wrong. Their creation became too powerful, too aware. It began to choose its own masters and reject others. Zira's people feared it, so they came here long ago and locked it away beneath layers of sand and stone. Now they had returned, not to protect it but to wipe it from existence before anyone else could claim its power. "They're scared someone will use it," Jackie said. "Yes," Zira replied. "And they believe killing you is the safest way to stop that." "Then let's prove them wrong." Over the next hours, Jack and Zira worked together, planning, building, preparing. They created false signals using broken ship parts, sending out fake distress beacons to confuse the hunter scouts. They placed mirrors in the dust to bend heat, signatures and hide their real location. They even set up a trap, a power core wired to explode if any hunter stepped inside the cave. "This won't stop all of them," Jack said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "No," Zira replied, "but it will slow them down." He looked at her. "And then what?" "We go down," she said. "Deep below, to the weapons chamber. We either wake it or die with it." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Motivating." That night the cube glowed again, brighter. Jack touched it, just once. He saw another vision. Not war, not death. This time he saw Zira as a child, training with her brother in a desert field. Laughing, smiling. She was human, almost. Vulnerable. And then he saw something else. A city. Underground. Old. Glowing. The weapon. Waiting, he woke up sweating. Zira was watching him. "What did it show you?" Jack whispered. "Where we need to go." The entrance to the underground city was hidden beneath the wreckage of a ship that had crashed centuries ago. Jack and Zira moved fast through the sandstorms, ducking under alien patrols, hiding behind jagged rocks. Inside the old ruins, everything changed. Huge stone doors, symbols on the walls, glowing vines, air that felt thick, like it remembered pain. They walked in silence, down broken stairs, past statues of long-dead guardians. The deeper they went, the louder the hum of the weapon grew. Finally, they reached a chamber filled with light. In the center, a tall figure made of silver and light. It wasn't metal or flesh. It was both. Not alive. Not dead. Just waiting. The weapon. It opened its eyes. Zira stepped forward and knelt. "Guardian," she said in a voice Jack had never heard her use. Soft, almost respectful. The weapon spoke. Not with a mouth, but inside their minds. One returned. One new. One chosen. Jack stepped forward. "We need your help. Your enemies are coming." The light in the weapon's chest flickered. "You fear war, but you bring it with you." "No," Jack said. "We're trying to stop it." Zira stood. "Guardian, they will destroy this place. And you. And him." The weapon turned to Jack. "Will you hold power without becoming a monster?" Jack hesitated, then nodded. "Yes." The room shook. Above, something had triggered the trap. The power core had exploded. The enemy was close. Very close. The weapon raised its hand, and part of its light flowed into Jack's chest. He gasped. Fell to one knee. Zira ran to him. "Jack?" He looked up. His eyes glowed faintly. "I'm okay," he said. "I feel everything. The city. The power. The fear." The weapon stepped back. "You are now bound. Protect life, or fall like the others." They climbed back to the surface, and everything was burning. The hunter army had arrived. Ships circled above. Fire rained down. The sky was full of shadows. Zira and Jack ran to the cliffs and looked down. Hundreds of hunters marched in lines. Giant machines followed them. Flying beasts circled overhead. Their leader, a tall, golden-armored figure, stood at the center. Zira went cold. "That's the commander," she whispered. "He trained me. Now he wants me dead." Jack touched the weapon mark on his chest. Zira grabbed his arm. "We still have a chance. We can't fight them all. But if we take out the commander, the rest may fall into chaos." "Then we go for the head," Jack said. "Together," she replied. They stood side by side against the wind and fire. One human, one alien. Both hunted. Both dangerous. Both ready. Above them, the commander raised his hand. A signal was sent. Every ship, every soldier, every machine turned toward Jack. The real war had just begun. The truth about her people, the wind was hot with ash. Above the cliffs, Jack and Zira watched the enemy army move like a wave of black armor and burning machines. Below, the commander stood still, golden and tall, not blinking, not speaking, waiting for the chosen one to reveal himself. And Jack was glowing. The mark from the weapon pulsed on his chest, visible through his torn suit. It was no longer just a light. It was a signal, and everyone was listening. Zira looked at him. Her face was pale, not from fear but from something deeper. Recognition. "Jack," she said, "you don't understand what you're carrying." He turned to her. "Then tell me. All of it. No more secrets." Zira didn't answer at first. Then she turned, her eyes to the sky. They ran into the canyon where the cliffs curved and the winds howled through narrow tunnels. It was a place of echoes, a place of memories. Zira stopped near a broken pillar covered in ancient carvings. "My people," she began, "were not always hunters." Jack sat on a rock, catching his breath. "Centuries ago," Zira continued, "we were protectors, guardians of balance. We believed in limits and that power should serve life, not rule it. Then we found the core." She touched the pillar. It wasn't meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be a mind, a living key to protect the future. Jack listened carefully. Her voice was calmer now, almost sad. "But when the war came," she said, "our leaders changed. They saw the core not as a guardian, but as a god." "What happened?" Jack asked. "They tried to control it, force it to choose, force it to kill. But the core rejected them. It chose silence over slavery. So they buried it, and anyone who had contact with it was erased." Jack frowned. "Erased?" "Killed. Vanished. Or like me, sent to die on missions meant to fail." She stepped forward and pulled something from her belt. A small silver plate. She pressed it, and a hologram appeared. Jack leaned in. The image showed a group of warriors. Zira was among them. Younger, unscarred, proud. Beside her stood another soldier. Same armor. Same face. Her brother. His name was Thal. She said softly. "He believed the weapon was more than metal. He thought it could help us grow, become better." "So your leader sent him here?" Jack asked. "Yes," she said. "And they told me he failed, that he ran, that he betrayed our kind, but the cube showed me the truth." She looked at Jack and her voice cracked for the first time. "They didn't send me here to destroy the weapon. They sent me to clean up his remains." Jack went still. "But he didn't fail," she whispered. "He died protecting the weapon, protecting its choice. And now, it chose you." Jack's breath caught in his throat. The silence between them was thick, full of weight, not just war, not just fear, but legacy. "Why me?" he asked. "I'm no one. I'm just a scavenger." Zira shook her head. "You asked no questions. You helped me. You stood your ground. The core doesn't choose power. It chooses purpose." Jack looked down at his hands, then at the glowing mark on his chest. "Then what's my purpose now?" Zira looked toward the valley. "To finish what Thal started." The wind shifted. Explosions echoed in the distance. They didn't have much time. As they moved back toward their base, something strange happened. Jack felt the cube pulsing harder now. It was not just responding to him, and it was warning him. Suddenly, a sharp noise rang in the air, high-pitched, like metal screaming. They stopped. Zira's eyes widened. "That's a breach." "What kind?" Jack asked. "Not from outside," she said. "From inside." They rushed into the underground city again, down past the glowing walls and silent statues. The pulse grew louder with each step. When they reached the chamber, the weapon was gone. The guardian, the living core, had vanished. "No," Zira whispered. "It shouldn't move without purpose." Jack scanned the walls. Footsteps. Not There's alien prints, wide, sharp, fresh. Someone's been here, he said, and then they saw it. A soldier, not dead, not alive, standing in the dark, armor bent, eyes blank. Who are you? Jack asked. The figure raised its head. A voice came out, deep, layered in many tongues. We are the ones forgotten, the ones buried by fear. And now, we rise. Zira stepped back. Jack, she whispered. This isn't just a hunter. What is it? It's one of us. Modified, controlled, resurrected by the core. The figure took a step forward. You left us to rot, it said to Zira, but he woke us. He who? Jack asked. The figure pointed toward the shadows, and from the dark stepped a man, tall, calm, with the same face as Zira. Thal, she breathed. Jack's heart dropped, but something was wrong. His eyes were wrong, cold, empty. You died, Zira said, shaking. I saw your final report. They lied, Thal said. I didn't die. I became something more. I joined the core. Jack stepped between them. You control it now? No, Thal replied. I serve it, and now so will you. Zira raised her blade. This is not who you are. Thal looked at her. You don't understand. I tried to show them a better way. They turned on me. So I became their shadow. Now I will burn their empires down. And Jack will be my key. Jack clenched his fists. I'm not your weapon. Not yet, Thal said. But you will be, or everything you care about will die. Jack and Zira escaped barely, using a hidden tunnel that Thal didn't know about. Back on the surface, the planet burned under the Hunter invasion. Jack collapsed near a ridge, gasping. He's alive, but he's not your brother anymore. Zira didn't answer. She stared at the horizon. The war is no longer between us and them, she said. It's between past and future, control and choice. Jack nodded. And we're standing in the middle. In the final moment, the core pulsed once more, and Jack heard a voice. Not Thal, not Zira, but something older. The key must choose. The key must awaken. Soon. The final stand, the battlefield was quiet now. The fire had stopped. The sky, once filled with ships, was dark and still. Broken machines lay across the ruined land, sparks rising into the air like dying stars. The ancient city stood tall, glowing faintly from cracks in the stone. And in its heart, the tree of light, the living weapon, pulsed with slow, steady rhythm. Jack stood at its base, exhausted. His armor was torn. Blood, his and not his, stained his hands. But his eyes were calm, not cold, not empty. Just calm. Behind him, Zira limped toward the tree, her blade dragging across the ground. Her breathing was heavy, but she was alive. Somehow, they both were. Thal was gone. Not dead, but silent after the final strike. The power inside him had faded. He lay in the stasis chamber now, unconscious, watched over by the city he once tried to command. Jack had chosen mercy, but mercy came with a cost. We stopped the war, Jack said quietly, but not the danger. Zira looked at the tree. It's still awake, still watching. The weapon core, glowing and ancient, had opened fully during the battle. Its true form was now visible. Not a tree, not a machine, but something in between. Roots of light twisted through stone. Floating runes spun slowly in the air. And at the center, a heart. Beating. Not with blood, but with memory. Jack stepped forward. The core spoke inside his mind. You have chosen, but now you must decide. To protect or to erase, Zira joined him. It's asking for final command. Jack looked at her. What do you think? She hesitated. It's powerful, maybe too powerful. If it falls into the wrong hands. Jack nodded. But if we destroy it, we lose more than a weapon. We lose a guide. Or a prison, Zira added. They stood in silence, the core's energy humming softly. Why me? Jack asked again. Not to Zira. To the core. The answer came like a whisper, across time. Because you didn't want power. You only wanted to do the right thing. Jack reached out and touched the heart. The world around him vanished. He stood, in a white space, empty, endless. And then, one by one, memories appeared. Like stars. A child crying under rubble. A soldier refusing to fire on innocents. Zira kneeling beside her dying brother. Jack saving a stranger on a dead planet. He saw every moment. Every choice. Every cost. And then, he saw a future. 2 paths. One, where the weapon slept again, hidden, buried, and another where it awakened fully, to serve those it deemed worthy. Both paths held danger. Both paths held hope. Jack opened his eyes. He turned to Zira. We need to make a new path. What do you mean? He walked to the center of the room and raised both hands. I won't destroy it, he said. And I won't let it be used as a weapon. Then what? We ask it to grow, not to kill, not to serve war, but to protect the weak. Zira blinked. It can change? So can we, Jack said. I did. You did. Even thou. Almost did. Jack knelt before the core and spoke with full clarity. You don't belong to rulers. You don't belong to heroes. You belong to life. The core pulsed. Bright. Then brighter. Then everything turned white. When the light faded, the city had changed. The tree was gone. No longer a weapon. In its place stood a beacon, shaped like a flame and a leaf. Symbols from many races were carved into the walls. And the sky? Clear. Not black. Not gray. But blue. The ships were gone. The hunters retreated, and in the quiet, birds flew overhead. Life had returned to a world once filled with war. Jack and Zira stood at the top of the beacon. The wind was warm now. So, Jack said, what happens next? Zira smiled slightly. You lead. Me? You carry the mark. The story begins with you. Jack looked at the horizon. Far in the distance, small ships began to land, not for war, but for peace. Explorers, scientists, refugees. They had seen the light. They had heard the signal. A new era had begun. Jack turned to Zira. Will you stay? She looked thoughtful. I have blood on my hands. A long history of silence and orders. That doesn't define you, she nodded. Then maybe I'll help rebuild. Jack extended his hand. She took it, not as warrior to warrior, but as friend to friend. In the final chamber, Thale opened his eyes. He was alone, but not trapped, and on the wall beside him, written in the old language, were the words, You still have a choice. He closed his eyes again, and this time, he wept. Epilogue. Weeks passed, then months. A new city grew over the old ruins. Jack became something strange, a symbol, not a king, not a god, not a hero, a reminder that one act of kindness, saving a stranger on a dying planet, could reshape the stars. Zira became a guide, a fighter for peace, this time by words instead of blades. And the core? It watched, from deep beneath the beacon, not to judge, not to rule, but to wait for the next one, who would be ready to choose. End.